The sun rose timidly over the city, casting a soft light on the orphanage where Lucas had spent most of his life. It was a place that, despite its limitations, had become his home, a safe haven since childhood. Today, however, the atmosphere was charged with a mixture of emotions: excitement for the future and sadness at the separation. Lucas was surrounded by other young people from the orphanage and the staff who had cared for him over the years. His friends, some with tears in their eyes, offered words of encouragement and warm goodbyes. He tried to maintain his composure, but the apprehension was evident in his eyes. The uncertainty about what awaited him outside the gates was almost palpable. "Are you ready for this, Lucas?" asked Dona Marta, the caregiver who had always treated him like a son. Her voice, gentle and concerned, was a reminder of the safety he was about to leave behind. "Yes, Mrs. Marta. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next," Lucas replied, trying to convey confidence. But the truth was, inside, he was filled with doubts. The world outside the orphanage was vast and unknown, and he knew he would face challenges he had never imagined. The farewell was marked by tight hugs and promises to stay in touch. As he walked to the gate, Lucas looked back one last time, feeling a tightness in his chest. He knew he had to let go of the past and face the future with courage. With a deep sigh, he took the first step towards a new chapter in his life, carrying with him the memories of a childhood that had shaped his essence. The first few days away from the orphanage were an avalanche of new experiences and challenges for Lucas. The city, which had once seemed promising, now turned out to be a maze of opportunities and obstacles. Without a permanent home and with little money, he faced the harsh reality of adult life. Lucas went to a cheap hostel, where he found a simple room, but at least he had a roof over his head. He spent his days browsing job ads and visiting local businesses, but the doors were constantly closed. His lack of experience and the discrimination he faced for not having a solid academic background were almost insurmountable barriers. Desperate, Lucas decided to look for an alternative solution. That's when he came across a small advertisement in a local cafe. A bike shop was hiring a helper. Although the job wasn't ideal, it was an opportunity. He showed up for an interview with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The owner of the shop, a middle-aged man with a stern demeanor, seemed skeptical, but eventually offered Lucas the job. The task of adjusting tires and repairing bicycles seemed straightforward, but Lucas was determined to do his best. The first week was marked by long hours and hard work, with Lucas learning to cope with the physical and technical demands of the job. Despite the struggle to adapt, Lucas was beginning to find some comfort in the routine of the workshop. It was a modest job, but he knew it was a necessary starting point. Loneliness and fatigue were constant, but he was not willing to give up. With each day, the hope of building a new life became a little more palpable. The bike shop was located on a busy street, but it looked a bit run down. The smell of oil and rubber filled the space, and the constant sound of work tools created a symphony of activity. Lucas, now a new employee, began to familiarize himself with the space and the people who worked there. The owner, Mr. Carvalho, was a man who exuded authority, but behind his stern exterior hid a passion for mechanics. He watched Lucas with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism as the young man tried to adapt to the new work rhythm. His co-workers were a diverse group, some friendly and some reserved, but all equally immersed in their daily tasks. Lucas quickly discovered that there was more to the job than just fixing bikes. There was an art to adjusting and modifying components to ensure optimal performance. The young man began to take an interest in the technical details and develop his skills. His dedication did not go unnoticed, and he began to receive cautious praise from some of his colleagues. Despite facing challenges, such as resistance from some employees who doubted his abilities, Lucas remained focused. He spent his free time studying manuals and watching videos on bicycle mechanics and engineering. Gradually, he began to see improvements in his work, which increased his confidence. The workshop was slowly becoming a second home for Lucas. He still missed the security of the orphanage, but the feeling of purpose and building something new was starting to fill the void. Every adjustment he made, every bike he fixed, was a small step toward realizing his dreams. The mood in the shop was tense. An important client had brought in a high-end racing bike, but something was wrong with the drivetrain. The project was in jeopardy, and Mr. Carvalho was visibly worried. The pressure was palpable, and the team knew this could be a reputation-defining challenge for the shop. Lucas, who had previously worked on less complex tasks, offered to help. Mr. Carvalho hesitated, but the urgent need and Lucas's determination convinced him to give it a try. The young man dove into the problem with a mixture of eagerness and enthusiasm. He studied the bike's drivetrain carefully, analyzing each component and its potential failures. After hours of hard work, Lucas began to notice patterns and small details that had previously gone unnoticed. He proposed an innovative solution that involved a combination of precise adjustments and specific part replacements. The team was skeptical, but Mr. Carvalho gave the go-ahead to try Lucas's approach. The work was meticulous and took longer than anticipated. Lucas worked through the night, repeatedly testing and adjusting the system. His dedication began to pay off when the problem was finally resolved. The bike was working perfectly, and the customer was impressed with the quality of the work when he tried it out. Success brought collective relief and new respect for Lucas. Mr. Carvalho, although he still did not express his emotions easily, recognized the young man's worth and praised him for the solution he had found. The victory in solving the challenge made Lucas feel more confident and optimistic about the future. The success with the racing bike brought new energy to the workshop. Word of Lucas's skills spread, and a notable client, an engineer at a tech startup, took an interest in his work. The client, named Enrique, was looking for a talented young man to take on an innovative project. Enrique offered Lucas an opportunity to work on an electric bicycle engineering project, a field that combined mechanics and electronics. Lucas was excited about the prospect, but he also felt an overwhelming pressure. The chance to work on such an advanced project was a dream come true, but he knew he would have to go the extra mile to live up to the expectations. Over the next few days, Lucas dove into the new project with renewed passion. The work was challenging and required not only technical skills but also creativity and critical thinking. He spent hours studying the electrical components and developing solutions to integrate the technology efficiently. Enrique became a mentor to Lucas, providing guidance and constructive feedback. The young man took the opportunity to learn more about advanced engineering and improve his skills. He began to see the impact of his work on the functionality and performance of e-bikes. The project was a success, and Enrique's startup gained visibility in the market. Lucas became a valuable member of the team and gained recognition for his innovative contributions. This experience was an important milestone in his career, proving that he was capable of tackling complex challenges and creating meaningful solutions. With his new position, Lucas felt like he was finally on the right track. The opportunity to work on a high-profile project not only validated his efforts, but also opened doors to a promising future. With the success of the electric bike project, Lucas' life seemed to finally be stabilizing. However, the tranquility was short-lived. An unexpected problem arose when a critical flaw was discovered in a batch of bikes that had been produced. The flaw could compromise the safety of users and seriously affect the reputation of the startup. The crisis left the team in tatters. The deadline to solve the problem was tight, and the pressure on Lucas and his colleagues was intense. Enrique, although supportive, demanded a quick and efficient solution. The situation was stressful, and Lucas felt the weight of responsibility weighing heavily on his shoulders. Lucas dove headfirst into the problem, examining every component of the bikes and searching for a solution to the problem. However, the situation became even more complicated when he discovered that the problem was linked to a combination of complex technical factors. The time pressure and increased workload began to affect his health and emotional well-being. Doubts began to haunt Lucas. He wondered if he was up to the challenge and if he could find a solution in time. However, amidst his frustration, he remembered his journey and the difficulties he had overcome so far. Determined not to fail, Lucas decided to give it his all and face the challenge head-on. With a methodical and tireless approach, he found the source of the failure and implemented a series of fixes. The work was hard and required a great deal of dedication, but eventually, the problem was resolved. The startup was able to regain the trust of its customers and production continued without any further setbacks. Success amidst the crisis was a crucial milestone in Lucas's life. He proved himself capable of handling pressure and solving complex problems, solidifying his role on the team and reinforcing his belief in his own capabilities. With the crisis resolved, the atmosphere at the startup was one of relief and celebration. The company's reputation had been restored, and the team was filled with renewed energy. Lucas, in particular, felt elated at having overcome the challenge and contributed to the company's success. Enrique, impressed by Lucas' dedication and ability, invited him to a special meeting. During the conversation, Enrique made Lucas a life-changing offer. He would be promoted to lead a new technological innovation project within the startup. The offer included a role with greater responsibility and the opportunity to explore his own creative ideas. Lucas was both delighted and surprised. The offer represented a major advancement in his career and recognition for the hard work he had done. He accepted the proposal with enthusiasm, knowing that it was a significant step for his future. Over the next few months, Lucas began leading the new project, which involved developing a cutting-edge electric bike. He worked with a dedicated team and had the freedom to experiment with new ideas. The project was a success and helped position the startup as a leader in the electric bike market. In addition to his professional advancement, Lucas also made new friends and built a valuable network. He began to feel part of a community that shared his passion for innovation and mechanics. The sense of accomplishment and belonging was deeply rewarding. While celebrating the success of the project, Lucas reflected on his journey from the orphanage to that moment. The journey was full of challenges and achievements, but also of learning and growth. He knew that life still had many challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them with confidence and determination. With the success of his new project and the promotion he had earned, Lucas found a moment to reflect on his journey. Sitting in a cafe near his office, he looked out the window, taking in the city that now seemed more familiar and welcoming. The past seemed distant, a reminder of a time when uncertainty and struggle were constant. As he sipped his coffee, Lucas recalled the critical moments that had led him to this point. He remembered the orphanage, the difficulty of adapting to the outside world, and the countless nights of intense work in the workshop. Each challenge had been a fundamental part of his personal and professional growth. The struggle to establish himself in the workshop, the success in solving complex problems, and the opportunity to lead an innovative project were all stages that shaped his resilience and skills. He also thought about the people who had helped him along the way: Dona Marta, his fellow workshop members, and Enrique. Each of them had contributed in some way to his evolution, and he felt deeply grateful for their contributions. Lucas decided he wanted to give back to the community that had supported him. He began to consider mentoring young people who were facing similar challenges to those he had faced. Furthermore, Lucas was excited about the future. With the new project underway, he knew there were more opportunities to explore and more challenges to overcome. He was determined to continue learning and innovating, always looking for ways to contribute to technological advancement and the well-being of the community. The coffee slowly emptied as Lucas contemplated his plans and dreams. The journey had not been easy, but each step had been a learning experience. He was ready to embrace the future with optimism, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had the strength and determination to face them and triumph.